Sweden is often seen as a haven of safety, a country where violent crime is rare and small communities thrive in peaceful harmony. But on a summer evening in June 2015, that illusion was shattered. In the countryside of Blomberg, a 17-year-old girl named Lisa Holm vanished without a trace. A routine end to her workday at a local cafe turned into a nightmare, one that would grip the nation in fear and disbelief. What happened to Lisa Holm? And how could such horror unfold in a place where danger seemed unthinkable? Welcome to That Police Officer, where real crime meets real experience. Join me as we break down true crime cases with insight from a law enforcement perspective, facts, investigations, and justice. Subscribe for more in-depth true crime analysis. Lisa Holm was the kind of girl who left a lasting impression on everyone she met. At just 17 years old, she was full of life, ambition, and warmth. Growing up in Skövde, Sweden, Lisa was known for her kind heart, bright smile, and unwavering determination. She had dreams for the future, aspirations that stretched far beyond the small town where she lived. To her friends and family, Lisa was more than just a daughter, a sister, or a friend. She was a source of light, someone who carried an infectious optimism wherever she went. That summer in 2015, Lisa had taken a part-time job at Café Blomberg, a cozy little spot nestled in the scenic countryside of western Sweden. The cafe, located near the shores of Lake Vänern, was a popular stop for locals and tourists alike. For Lisa, working at Café Blomberg was more than just a summer job. It was a chance to earn some money while enjoying the simple pleasures of the Swedish countryside. She had a steady routine. She would arrive in the afternoon, serve customers with her usual cheerful demeanor, and close up before heading home on her moped. It was a short ride back to Skövde, and she always kept her parents informed of her whereabouts. On Sunday, June 7th, 2015, Lisa had just finished her shift and was ready to go back home. But she never arrived. That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and darkness settled over the quiet village, something unthinkable had happened. Lisa Holm had disappeared. What started as a normal summer evening in a peaceful town was about to unravel into one of Sweden's most shocking criminal investigations. She had spent the afternoon serving customers, chatting with regulars, and preparing the cafe for closing. At 6:23 p.m., she sent a text message to her father, letting him know she was about to leave for home. It was a simple message, the kind she had sent many times before. Lisa's parents expected her to arrive shortly after. The ride back to Skövde was no more than 15 to 20 minutes on her moped. But as the minutes turned to hours with no sign of Lisa, her parents' concern grew into full-blown panic. Repeated calls to her phone went unanswered. Something was wrong. At around 10 p.m., her worried father decided to go to Blomberg himself. When he arrived, what he found made his heart sink. Lisa's moped was parked near the cafe, standing upright as if she had only just stepped away. The keys were still in the ignition, her helmet neatly placed on the seat. But Lisa was nowhere to be found. There was no reason why she would have left her belongings behind voluntarily. News of Lisa's disappearance spread quickly through the community. Within hours, locals had begun searching for her. By midnight, both police and volunteers had scoured the nearby roads, fields, and wooded areas. The sense of urgency was overwhelming. This wasn't a case of a rebellious teenager running away. Lisa was responsible, and she had no history of disappearing without explanation. The first unsettling clue was found near her moped, a black glove that belonged to Lisa. It was lying on the ground, as if it had been dropped in a hurry. This discovery intensified the growing fear that something terrible had happened. The search expanded rapidly, with over 100 volunteers combing through the vast rural landscape of Blomberg. As the hours turned into days, hope began to fade. Authorities launched a full-scale investigation, deploying police dogs, helicopters, and forensic teams. The Holm family pleaded for help from the public, while social media flooded with missing person alerts. The entire country was watching, hoping for a miracle. On June 12th, 5 days after Lisa vanished, search teams stumbled upon something that sent chills through the community. Inside a small, abandoned work shed on the Martorp estate, just a few kilometers from where Lisa disappeared, her lifeless body was found. The news spread like wildfire, and the shock was immediate. The forensic examination would later confirm that Lisa had been bound and strangled, her body hidden away in an attempt to delay discovery. The discovery of Lisa Holm's body turned a missing persons case into a full-scale homicide investigation. What had begun as a desperate search for a missing teenager had now become a hunt for a killer. From the moment Lisa was reported missing, police did not rule out foul play. The eerie scene, her moped standing untouched, the keys still in the ignition, and her belongings abandoned, suggested that she had been taken against her will. Investigators immediately began questioning people who might have seen Lisa that evening. The first step was to look at those who had regular access to the area. Employees of Café Blomberg, nearby residents, and transient workers from the Martorp estate, located near the crime scene, were among the first to be questioned. Police also examined Lisa's phone records, retracing her last known movements in the hope of uncovering a crucial lead. As the investigation intensified, several men were detained and questioned, but time after time, these leads led nowhere. Each dead and frustrated both authorities and the public. Some locals reported seeing unfamiliar men around the cafe before Lisa's disappearance. These reports led to interrogations of seasonal workers, many of whom came from Lithuania, Poland, and Latvia for temporary labor. Several individuals were brought in for questioning, but none had concrete ties to Lisa's murder. DNA samples were taken from multiple suspects, and background checks were conducted, yet police could not establish a direct link to the crime. The delays in identifying a suspect only deepened the sense of fear and unease in Blomberg. As police worked around the clock, the people of Blomberg came together in an outpouring of grief and solidarity. Candlelight vigils were held in Lisa's honor, with hundreds of residents gathering to mourn and pray for justice. Social media campaigns spread across Sweden, with thousands of people expressing outrage and demanding answers. The Holm family, devastated but determined, pleaded for information, urging anyone who knew anything to come forward. The case had captivated the entire nation, but the police still lacked a clear suspect. However, just as it seemed the investigation might stall, a breakthrough came, one that would change everything. As investigators meticulously combed through the crime scene, they widened their search beyond the immediate area of Lisa's body. Their efforts soon led them to the Martorp estate, a rural property just a short distance from where Lisa had disappeared. The estate housed several seasonal workers, many of whom were employed in nearby agricultural fields. It was an area that had been checked before, but now, with fresh eyes and the knowledge of where Lisa's body had been hidden, authorities paid closer attention. It didn't take long before they found something significant. Lisa's belongings, items that had been missing since her disappearance, were discovered near the estate. Her clothes and other personal effects were hidden in a manner that suggested an attempt to cover up the crime. This immediately shifted suspicion toward those working or residing at Martorp. Investigators now had physical evidence tying Lisa's last moments to the area. As police intensified their efforts at the estate, they encountered something unusual. Certain individuals appeared nervous and defensive, almost as if they were trying to deter the investigation. One worker, in particular, stood out. Nerijus Bilavicius, a 35-year-old Lithuanian national, had been living and working at Martorp. Unlike others, who cooperated and answered questions without hesitation, Bilavicius seemed agitated. His behavior was erratic, and at times, he was even dismissive of the police presence. Even more suspicious was the fact that some of Bilavicius' co-workers seemed reluctant to speak about him. as if they feared what he might do. With mounting suspicion, forensic experts conducted a comprehensive analysis of Lisa's clothing, body, and the crime scene. What they found sealed Bilovish's fate. DNA evidence, perhaps the most irrefutable kind of proof in modern forensic science, linked Narigis Bilovicius directly to the crime. His DNA was found on Lisa's clothes and at the location where her body had been hidden. There was no plausible explanation for how his DNA could have ended up there unless he had been directly involved in Lisa's abduction and murder. Moreover, fibers from his clothing matched samples taken from Lisa's remains, further solidifying the case against him. Narigis Bilovicius was arrested on suspicion of kidnapping, assaulting, and murdering Lisa Holm. The quiet seasonal worker who had tried to keep a low profile was now at the center of one of Sweden's most horrifying crimes. The tension in Blomberg reached a fever pitch. Why had he done it? How had he chosen Lisa? As the investigation continued and details of the crime emerged, the full extent of the horror was about to be revealed. The nation braced for the upcoming trial, where the prosecution would lay out the shocking truth of what had happened to Lisa Holm. With forensic evidence placing Narigis Bilovicius at the scene of the crime. As police analyzed the circumstances of Lisa's abduction and murder, a clear pattern of a sexually motivated crime emerged. There was no indication that Bilovicius had known Lisa personally, yet forensic evidence and his digital footprint suggested that his attack was premeditated rather than spontaneous. Forensic evidence pointed to sexual assault, though due to Swedish laws protecting victims' dignity, specific details were not made public. Bilovicius's internet history revealed disturbing searches related to violence against women and sexual crimes, indicating a fixation on predatory behavior. Eyewitness accounts and behavioral analysis suggested that he had been watching Lisa for some time. It was possible that he had seen her working at the cafe and fixated on her as a target. When Lisa left after her shift, he intercepted her, overpowering the petite 17-year-old and dragging her to an isolated area. The crime scene indicated a struggle, but against a much stronger and older man, Lisa had no chance. During interrogation, Bilovicius denied everything. He claimed he had never seen Lisa Holm before, let alone harmed her. He tried to explain away the DNA evidence by saying that he might have accidentally touched an object Lisa had used, a desperate and implausible excuse. However, as investigators pressed him harder, his story began to fall apart. Under pressure, his contradictions mounted, and his demeanor became increasingly erratic. The forensic results, the discovery of Lisa's belongings near his workplace, and his suspicious behavior left him with nowhere to hide. Although Bilovicius never fully confessed, the evidence was so overwhelming that his guilt was undeniable. Swedish prosecutors prepared to take him to trial, where they would expose the full extent of his crime to the world. The trial commenced in late 2015 at the Skaraborg District Court. The prosecution presented a compelling case, meticulously detailing the evidence that linked Bilovicius to the crime. Forensic experts testified about the DNA matches found on Lisa's belongings and at the crime scene. Additionally, digital forensics revealed disturbing searches on Bilovicius's devices, indicating a premeditated intent. Witnesses, including co-workers and local residents, recounted observations of Bilovicius's behavior before and after Lisa's disappearance. Their testimonies painted a picture of a man who had been evasive and exhibited signs of agitation during the search efforts. Throughout the trial, Bilovicius maintained his innocence, offering alternative explanations for the evidence against him. However, his defense struggled to provide credible counterarguments to the prosecution's well-substantiated claims. After careful deliberation, the court found Narigis Bilovicius guilty of the abduction and murder of Lisa Holm. He was sentenced to life imprisonment, a verdict that resonated deeply with the public's demand for justice. The severity of the sentence underscored the gravity of the crime and the court's commitment to ensuring public safety. For Lisa's family and friends, The journey toward healing was deeply personal and challenging. The trial's conclusion provided a measure of closure, yet the void left by Lisa's absence remained profound. They channeled their pain into advocacy, raising awareness about personal safety and supporting initiatives to protect other young individuals from similar fates. The legacy of Lisa Holm became a catalyst for change, prompting nationwide discussions on community vigilance and the importance of safeguarding vulnerable members of society. While the village of Blomberg would never forget the darkness that touched their lives, they emerged with a strengthened bond and a commitment to honor Lisa's memory through unity and proactive efforts. Lisa Holm's case serves as a stark reminder of how quickly a peaceful existence can be shattered by senseless violence. Lisa's memory lives on in more than just the hearts of those who knew her. Her family and the people of Blomberg have taken proactive steps to honor her life, ensuring that her story is not just one of tragedy, but also of lasting impact. Her name has become synonymous with the strength of a community unwilling to be defined by fear. Though the pain of her absence remains, her legacy serves as a powerful reminder that even in darkness, unity and perseverance can bring about light. Crimes like this often leave communities shaken, but they also highlight the importance of looking out for one another. Being aware of our surroundings, reporting suspicious activity, and creating a culture of safety can make a difference. Simple actions, such as checking in on friends and family, advocating for better safety measures, and educating young people about personal security, can prevent future tragedies. Lisa Holm's story should not be forgotten. It should serve as motivation to remain vigilant, to protect one another, and to ensure that no family has to endure the pain of such an unimaginable loss. By standing together, we can build stronger, safer communities, ones where no one has to fear for their safety.